you ever had like any problems with just skipping meals?
Why are you laughing? No, what was so funny?
I feel like you're the opposite. And at the end of the day, you're seeking this validation and this approval from people, but you're burnt out because what did that really give you? You know, you're not really putting your foot down. One of my New Year's goals this year to hang out with at least one person a week. And I've been doing that.
Then why don't we ever hang out? Are you overworked? Are you stressed? Do you have a lot on your shoulders, a lot to do? Are people ungrateful for you doing their laundry and you cooking them chicken tenders and crackers? Probably. So this episode is for you because this episode is all about toxic productivity. What is toxic productivity, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you a couple signs to be aware of if you were wondering or not. If you were experiencing some toxic productivity, things like burnout, saying yes to everything, putting way too much on your shoulders, even valuing working than hanging out with your friends or a social life. So if you need a guide on how to recognize different signs of toxic productivity and maybe some tips on how to treat it a little bit better, keep on listening. Welcome to another episode of the best podcast in the world.
Wow.
Difficult-ish. A podcast about South Asian heritage.
Not the same, but different.
Wait, this is 2 episodes in a row. You gotta add this little thing. We don't have to continue this. Okay. It's hosted by her.
Mohokan, if you didn't know. And it's hosted by him.
Manure.
It's not Manure. Last name is Munir, okay?
Ramadan Mubarak to all of our Muslims listening to this podcast.
Yes.
We will be on our best behavior in this podcast. There
No promises.
No funny business going on.
This is for all the people who maybe are lonely this Ramadan, who don't have a family to celebrate with.
Yeah.
Just know you have us. So
Celebrate
hopefully this
with
makes you
us.
feel a little less alone if you are fasting, if you are spending this by
You
yourself.
don't want to spend it with us. They don't want to.
Like, I remember when I first moved out 3 years ago now, I was living by myself, right? And that was like a whole experience, different experience for me, not living with my parents at home and just spending all of the holidays by myself for the most part. Obviously, I still live close to my parents. I could go over whenever. But for the majority of it, I was still like doing Ramadan and like the big holidays by myself and just navigating life alone. And it was very lonely and rough, but I think that those trying times like taught me how to just navigate hard moments in general because you're supposed to be uncomfortable. But I know that in some of those days where I was feeling alone, it would have been nice to like be with family or be with some loved ones and things like that, which I've gotten better with over the next few years. But yeah, if you are in that moment right now where you're feeling a little bit left behind or alone, I hope this makes you feel like you have someone with you.
Hope so.
You just have 2 doofenshmirtz with you right now in your ear.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired, if you understand. I will try my very best for this podcast, for this episode for you guys.
But you know what? You have to give yourself grace because you've been staying up since Sehri. So if you guys don't know, Sehri is the pre-sunrise meal that you have before you start your fast. So you can have like the last meal before you start. And for us in New York, it is around like 4:45 to 5:15-ish in the morning. And it's going to change, obviously, after the daylight savings start and things like that. Usually some people go back to sleep if you don't go to work or school and things like that. He stays up to be more productive, you know?
Yeah.
Which is proud of you. That's a big deal.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
They don't talk about this.
Oh.
They don't talk about this. They don't talk like. Okay. Did you know that there's like hours in the day before like 8-9 a.m.
Really?
It's crazy. No one talks about this like 6 a.m. waking up at 6 a.m. watching
I feel like no one
the
talks
sunrise.
about it, but you're the only person that talks about it so much.
Like watching the sunrise come through like the morning windows. The dew, you know, we've talked about the
and
morning
everyone
dew.
hated on you.
We talked about the morning dew.
Are you a big fan of like the morning?
Yeah,
sunrise?
Big fan of the morning sunrise. I just don't like getting tired in the middle of the day.
Well, that's normal.
If there's some way that we can negate that, scientists figure it out.
Scientists hit us up.
I need scientists.
So, like, do you want to talk about like your sunrise beverages, like what you chug like a minute before You
yeah,
can't
I mean,
eat or
it's
drink anymore?
obviously my water and my electrolytes and my coffee. What else?
Obviously, your coffee.
Yeah, I'm chugging in like my
It's
mouth
like
is
black
burning.
coffee.
Yeah,
Imagine
it's
at
disgusting
5:14
too.
in
It's
the
not
morning,
very
he's
good.
just chugging black coffee.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that doesn't help you though.
You know what? You're right. I should wake up earlier and like make like a pour over for myself.
Yeah.
That'd be better because I've just been using instant coffee. Don't recommend that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's up? Like, here we are.
Yeah.
You want to start this podcast episode?
Yeah, I definitely do.
So what in the world? See right there, I would have used a curse word, but we're not doing that.
I don't even know
our good behavior.
what curse word you could have put in there.
The HE double hockey sticks.
Oh wow.
You heard that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Florida thing.
In today's episode, we are talking about toxic productivity, right? The other day, Mashu and I, we went for a walk, right? We were trying to get some walking into our system while fasting. We were trying to go to the local bookstore and just look at some books to see what we can read up this Ramadan and just life in general. And as I was browsing this bookstore, a book caught my eye. Well, there were a few books that caught my eye.
Okay.
There was the ADHD one that I was very interested by.
Why'd that catch your eye?
Because I was like, oh, it has like it was great because this picture book, it was a picture book, so it had like very limited like words, and I was like, this is perfect for someone with ADHD.
Okay.
No, but I learned a lot. I was very empathetic.
What's something you learned?
I learned that something that can help you is like habit stacking in the morning. Like if you're someone that is very forgetful about like doing your skincare or taking your pills, it's good to associate like one thing with like brushing your teeth, so that you end up doing a lot of the morning things you have to do instead of forgetting.
That's interesting.
Okay, anyway.
That's interesting.
So as I was browsing this bookstore, I came upon this book called Toxic Productivity, right? There was a few other words with it. And I was going through it, and I was like, what even is toxic productivity? And then I went through the book. First of all, I found out that the writer of the book is South Asian. She has an Instagram page. She's a therapist, I believe. Her Instagram page is well.guide. Her name is Isra Nasir, right? And she wrote this incredible book, and she talks about the different forms of being productive in toxic ways and in unhealthy ways, right? So that is maybe working until you reach burnout every single time, whether that is working to the point where you don't even hang out with your friends and family or loved ones because you're just overworking yourself. Maybe that's like never taking a break or a vacation because you feel guilty or anxious if you ever stop. So this book, I just went through it very quickly just to see what the content was about. But then after that, I came home and I like really searched it up and like thought about this topic, and I was like, damn, a lot of children of immigrants have this unhealthy habit of working to the highest extent of just the worst part, right? Worst way possible, which I also have done in my life. And I'm only 26 years old. Both of us are only 26 years old. But I feel like the way we worked in our early 20s, even in our high school years, is a lot more in comparison to maybe like our white counterparts. And I wouldn't even just say that this is just for children of immigrants or South Asian people who have had like this hard work ethic drilled into them. Like this can occur to anyone really, but I think it's predominantly in our culture more. Yeah, because we have been told our whole lives like work harder than your white counterparts. You got to work 10 times harder to even get the same seat. You face all these you face all this racism and all these stereotypes, so it's important to overcome that and work harder so you prove everyone wrong, right? Why are you smiling?
No, it's just you use this word white counterparts so much, and I don't know why you say it.
What do you mean?
Just say like white people. Like
I mean, white counterparts.
I've never heard anyone say this word.
Well, now you've heard it.
What is a counterpart?
You have a partner that is intellectually more coherent, more cohesive, more coherent.
You got it, buddy. You got it, buddy. But no, that's true. That's true. We've been brought up to always be working and outworking and putting important things to the side.
And do better than your neighbor is what we've always been told.
Doing better than your cousin, doing better than your bird, doing better than whatever it is. Yeah. Because if you're not number one, then
You're trash.
Last place.
No, literally. If you're not number one, then you're literally last place.
You're a dumpster.
Even if you're number two,
buddy.
how dare you even try at that point, right? But I feel like this episode is really important, and I feel like we have talked about toxic productivity without like the actual term to it. We've talked about just how guilty we feel if we do take rest, and we even have an episode on how we hate vacations. Like back in our old day, we literally preached that we felt uncomfortable when we went on vacation, because we're like, we don't deserve this rest. We don't feel like this rest is actually contributing to our productivity or our lives in any way. So what's the point of even doing this? So since then, in our early 20s, when we did start recording this podcast, I feel like we've grown a lot in our wellness productivity journey.
I hope so. I think so.
Because now, like, when you take a break, like now you have Sunday rot in your vocabulary, you know?
Yeah, I've never, I think like I experienced my first one quite recently.
Yesterday.
No, that wasn't my first. I think I think that was probably like my third.
Yeah.
Third rot day. Like
in
entire
life,
day.
in life.
Since, I was at least like 18 or something.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah, because I just never, even thought of that as like a possibility of a day.
Yeah.
How dare I?
Yeah.
But not that it's needed, but sometimes.
Nice sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes when it's cold out and you don't wake up with the most energy. Sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah.
So.
I remember like a few weeks ago, he was just sitting on the couch and he was just like watching Dexter, binging that. And all he was doing was sitting on the couch watching it. And he was like, I feel like I'm at a resort. I feel like I'm on vacation. I was like, all right, buddy. There's more to life.
It was nice.
No, I know. I loved seeing it because it's so rare to see you like actually relaxing. But that's what I'm saying. It's so uncommon for us where we're still kind of in the beginning stages. We're just doing the simple things of resting for even 10 minutes. We're like, wow, I feel like it's my birthday,
Yeah. I remember like when I got my first apartment, like even when you had yours, like I was like, I'm not getting a TV. If I get TV, I'm going to not get anything done.
I didn't have a TV for 2 years.
And like I convinced you to not even get a TV.
Yeah.
I was just like, TV, we waste time.
And now I have like a 50-inch plus TV that your sister got.
Yeah.
But this episode will be catered towards those people who feel like this toxic productivity is like just the norm and they just feel like they're in this rat race where they can't get out of it. This episode is really for the people that want to maybe unlearn some of these unhealthy habits but don't know how to, and it's for you specifically if you don't know how to take a break, if you don't know how to stop overworking, if you don't know how to spend time outside of just your desk and your work. Just to like let you know that you might have some of these like unhealthy habits that you might need to face, because again, both Mashun and I have had these like rough awakenings, these like brink of burnout and quitting everything just because we're so just done with our life and work where it's not normal, Mm-hmm. So we just want to, shed some light on some of the qualities that you may have if you are like a toxic overworker. And I feel like the word toxic gets thrown around like so much.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like keep emphasizing it. I just want to say that like you'll know what I'm talking about, right? I don't want to keep saying toxic, right? But yeah, you want to go forward?
Yeah, we can start off.
Yeah.
Well, you want to just do like you want to just do like different like science and stuff of like of toxic productivity.
Yeah,
we could do one that I thought of is like sorry, my slipper came off. One that I thought of is a lot of time when we're being overworked in specifically like our early teen years, we can kind of just like miss out on like youthism and like our childhood.
That's the word, youthism.
That's a word.
I don't think it is.
Of course it is. It is now.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, just like part of being, I think I realized this as I become an adult is like it's important to enjoy your childhood. Like it's important to like be a kid, and it's important to you know, do what your mom says and do what's right and moral, but like also just like enjoy yourself and go make mistakes and go like trip on the sidewalk and go, you know, whatever it is, because like that is like the way that you become like a fully developed human, like entering like your adulthood. It's because, and you won't have any regrets, or you won't have any, you know, shortcomings, or just anything to, you know, look back on and say like, oh, like I wish I did this or wish I did that. I think a lot of us, you know, lose sight of like enjoyments and like doing things that like a kid does, because we're just brought up to think that like you gotta reach these accolades and these successes as soon as possible, and like there's no excuses and there's no like second places. And like I met so many people, like I know so many people who like were not able to like do anything growing up because they just had to, you know, study and do homework all the time. And you know, it hurts later on, because like you look around and you see all these other people that seem to have had like a more fulfilling life than you have, and it just makes you less willing or less ambitious to continue down the route that you've been on, because you just feel like you've missed out on so many things, you know?
Yeah. I think like someone who has been taught to focus on like academics and work life, you don't place as much emphasis on hobbies and social life and things like that, because those were just seen as like distractions. I remember in high school, if I were, you know, going to my friend's house after a school day continuously, obviously that could be a distraction if you do it every single day without actually focusing on your homework. But if you do it once in a while, it shouldn't be seen as them being a distraction to you, or them being a bother to you, or you not focusing on your work properly, because there should be a balance of you doing those things at the same time, especially in high school or when you are an early adult, you know. And I think because there is such emphasis on just getting the best grades and getting the highest paying job, if you keep doing that more and more, you start to lose so much of yourself, where you also genuinely feel like you working on your art or working on any personal business idea that you might have, or hanging out with friends, that seems like a waste, and it seems like it's not actually important for your life, even though at the end of the day those small things that you do outside of work is what fuels you and is what makes you a happier person, you know. But I think, you know, sometimes our parents or our upbringings or community, they're the ones that make it seem like those additions in our life aren't actually worthy enough to be in our life or be a focus in our life, you know. And it doesn't always have to be a focus in your life. Obviously, if you care about your friends, that doesn't mean automatically that negates you from being a good student, or negates that you want to work hard in school. But it's possible to have things side by side, you know?
Yeah. Good one. Yeah. I felt a lot of that, you know, like even to this day, like I can be bad with like hitting people up to hang out or do this or do that, because like a lot of time I'll correlate, you know, hanging out or doing this and that just like wasting my time, and like what else could I be doing in that time? And you know, that's not a good habit, you know. That's not a good way to think, you know.
Would you say it then? Sorry, I didn't understand what you said at that.
That's not a good way to think. Come on, you gotta understand the Mashnunis.
Yeah. And I think even though Mashun and I have gotten a lot better with being a little bit healthier with our productivity, there are still some traits that I have that is hard for me to unlearn still at this age. And that one of them is being so productive to the point where you forget to do the basic needs that you need to like sustain in life, right?
Yeah, talk about it.
So for example, sometimes I'm working so hard to the point where I'll forget to eat, and it's to the point where not only I forget to eat, but I don't even consider it as an important part of my life, because I rather just work. And especially for me, I'm like, okay, if I finish just one task, I'll reward myself with food, which is not a good way to think of things, because you should not be rewarding yourself with a basic necessity, right? That could also mean you aren't using the bathroom properly, or that could also mean that you're sacrificing your sleep, right? Yeah, in high school, it's sometimes normal, or even college, to pull all-nighters because you're trying to work and trying to study for this test. But if you're continuously doing that, it is not good for your mental health or your well-being, because you're sacrificing the things that you actually need to nourish your body. And that's not the priority is not to be working hard and getting all these good grades at the expense of your body failing, right? Like, I literally have one of my close friends who, because of all the stress she had on her body from such a young age, she has developed kind of like a scoliosis, but not exactly that, but this like debilitating back pain where she needs to get surgery or some sort of, you know, treatment for that. And I feel like in the beginning we don't really see the long-term effects of stress and just overworking your body, because, you know, we're younger and sleep is sleep, food is food, whatever. But there are long-term effects that can just ruin your body and how you operate later on in life. And it doesn't even have to be later on. It could be even in your mid-20s or 30s. And it just creeps up on you, you know, without you even realizing it. So, yeah, something that I'm working on personally is trying to maintain a 3-meal a day type of basis. Obviously now I can't because it's Ramadan, but even then I'm still trying to wake up for sehri, eat a proper meal for iftar, and really trying to keep myself accountable with things like that, even if I don't have the time because I'm working a lot to cook up something, because I'm not the best cook. I actually don't really care to cook that much at all. I like having options that, you know, I can just take from the deep freezer or take from the cupboards and just make really quickly, at least to get something in my body, even if it is like a protein bar or a protein shake or something like that, you know. But I think it's really important to take those small steps to, like, I guess, like, rewire your brain into feeling like this food and the sleep, the extra sleep will actually make you more motivated and more excited to do the studying or do the work, instead of it feeling like it's a
chore.
Yeah, it's like a chore, because it's not. That was a good one. That was a good catch. I forgot I was talking
so
much, I forgot the word.
It's not too big of a word.
So rewiring your brain into feeling like it's a necessity and something that will actually fuel you, instead of making it feel like it's a chore that you just have to do on top of work, you know. Thoughts on that? Have you ever had like any problems with just skipping meals?
Why are you laughing? Why is it so funny? No, what was so funny?
I just feel like I feel like you're the opposite.
What do you mean?
Like, you'll be going to the bathroom more when you have to do work.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, everything you said I don't really relate to.
Yeah.
I think I did do more, you know, I would find more excuses to, you know, go open the fridge or go get a snack. that would be me, like, you know, stressed about how many things I have to do. Like,
so you binge eat when you're overworking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's normal. I guess.
binge bathroom. You know, just like go sit there.
He does this thing. He does this thing where he's so stressed. He has so many things on a to-do list, and he's gone for 2 hours. And we're like, "Where's Majnun? Where's Majnun?" He's just sitting on the toilet. He's literally just sitting on the toilet.
Nah. So yeah, I mean, I get that. You know, I think when I do have a lot on my plate, it does, like, you know, derail me from, you know, just like my everyday normal habits, like normal eating, normal whatever, because like all, like with like all the stress, I'm like, why are you laughing?
I'm just thinking about you gone for 2 hours.
I've never gone for 2
Okay.
hours.
All right.
For like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, big like overeater, like binge eater, like when you know, like stakes are high, you know, like when there's like a lot of weight on my shoulders. I remember like when back in 9th grade, back when like you know, like you know, on Instagram you used to make collages and stuff.
Yeah.
My first collage, you know what it was? It was from my first all-nighter. In 9th grade, I had to study for it. I don't even think I had to stay up all night. I just thought like all-nighters were cool.
Right.
And like I finally had.
It
like,
was kind of cool back then.
And like I made a collage of like the 5 things that I got to like help me through the night. So I had like a bowl of Chipotle. I had like a Starbucks Frappuccino, like the vanilla old drinks.
Yeah.
think I had like some donuts from Dunkin' Donuts or something. And yeah.
Was this just your excuse to eat? Because there's no way you needed all that.
And yeah, I mean, like, you know, I've always been like a stress eater like that.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like, kind of relate, kind of don't, but you know, same world, you know, just like two sides, like
right. There's two extremes.
I was gonna say a bad.
We got one with OCD, one with ADHD.
Yeah.
One a Leo, one a Virgo.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything of your own?
You know, I did a lot of. I did a lot of saying yes to everything.
Yeah, you did.
You relate to that one? No.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you
yes
mean
to anything. Mashnoon, can you go get some donuts? Yes. Mashnoon, you can clip my toenails? Yes. Mashnoon, anything and everything. I always felt like I needed to say yes.
Why?
Maybe for, you know, just like some external validation, like so I look good in everyone's eyes, you know. I think like personally it's because like I knew I wasn't doing like performing well in school or anything, so I always wanted to be on like people's good sides. And like any favor that anyone asked, like if anyone needed like a ride from school or like lunch money or something, I was just always like so giving, like friends, family, whoever it is, because like I just didn't want anyone thinking negatively, because like I felt like I already thought so negatively of myself. And also because like I knew that with me having so much on my shoulders, like I could do one more thing, that's not gonna hurt me. And then like, but you know, there's no end to any of that. You know. And like and part of us feels, not even part of us, like I know that we feel good when we have things to do, you know, like you and I. We don't love having too much to do, but like at times when you have like a packed day, like you can kind of be excited for like the end of the day, knowing that like you're gonna go through everything and like everything's gonna be okay. So like part of you feels like good and feels like accomplished and like useful when you have things to do. So I think, you know, I just always told myself like, oh, I could do like one more thing, like one more thing wouldn't hurt. And like, and also you just didn't want to make anyone upset. You don't want to, because like when people are upset, it ends up coming back to you, you know, like, because their negative energy can spread like to the people that are close to them. I think that happened to me a lot too. So I was saying yes to everything.
I feel like you overcommit yourself because you want to just like book yourself to the fullest, because you want to feel like more productive. Like what you said before, if I add this one more thing, yeah, it's not gonna like ruin my day or make me feel horrible. But then if you keep doing that to every single thing, your day is so packed where you don't have any time for yourself, right? And I feel like some people might see this as an easier way to take advantage of you and your time, because they see that you're going above and beyond to not only be more well liked, but you're also going above and beyond, sacrificing your own time and energy for the things that you yourself could do that alone time with, right? And they can take more advantage of just your kindness, right? Especially if you're at a job and you're doing your own tasks for the day, but then other people might ask you to do their own things to help them out and respond to emails that, you know, don't really relate to you and this and that. You're spreading yourself thin. You're doing things that aren't even in your job responsibilities, and then they're going to keep taking more and more advantage of you because they see that you're not standing up for yourself, you know? And at the end of the day, you're seeking this validation and this approval from people, but you're burnt out and you're just upset because what did that really give you? You know, you're not really putting your foot down. And I think I was also very, very much a victim to this, because I felt like I was a better person if I had like all these social things on my to-do list, on top of my work, on top of my school, like when I was doing my master's. And I just felt proud of myself when I had a booked and ready to-do list, right? Because I associated that with like my own self-worth and value, because I felt like the most like A+ person because I was doing that, even though it was at the expense of my own mental health and my own well-being. Right? And I think that brings me to my next point, which is, working so hard to the point of burnout, where a lot of people think that the end goal of working really hard is burnout, or just being at that point where you can't even get up because you're so overwhelmed and you have so many tasks in your head. A lot of people think that that's a good thing, right? Because they're like, okay, I've worked so hard to the point where I'm burnt out. That means that I did a good job and I've made myself proud, right? And after this burnout goes away, I can just work again and I'll get to that point again, right? That is not a good thing. Working to the point of burnout constantly, obviously sometimes it happens without it being in your control, but if it continuously happens and you're kind of like seeking that, it is not a good thing. I feel like I was the type of person who got burnt out very frequently because I didn't know how to take a break. And then on top of that, when I was burnt out, I would get upset with myself because I wasn't able to just work through the pain or through the burnout, through the overwhelming feeling, even though I was low-key proud of myself for getting to that point, because I felt like I worked hard enough to get to this point of burnout. And then I would try to get myself out of it as quick as possible so I can return to work. But that's not really how it works, especially if you're the type of person who continuously gets burnt out. It gets harder and harder to get out of that process because you're not grieving the feelings properly. You're not taking yourself properly to really get out of that process of this overwhelming feeling, you know? Mm-hmm. So, like, what are your thoughts on burnout? Like, I know we used to feel that a lot.
Nah.
What was that?
Yeah, I mean, same. Like, I would always, convince myself that, like, burnout isn't real. And, like, even when, like, I'm at it, I would be like, like, I'm really tired and I don't know why. And then, like, I would just never even, like, consider, like, burnout.
Yeah.
This is never, like, anything that, like, I thought about.
We would always, like, blame outside factors. We'd be like, oh, yeah, it is, like, kind of cloudy today. Oh, yeah, like, maybe my parents put me in a bad mood today. But we never actually confront the elephant in the room, which is you've overworked yourself to the point of being burnt out.
That's a
and
good
just try
point.
to go over it. Yeah.
You hit the nail on that.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm better nowadays because I have set up precautions for myself and, know when to stop or know when to take a step back. But yeah, I mean, I think it's still like a big sign that you are being overworked and you just don't know when to stop,
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people might have this mindset where they're like, okay, after these 3-4 months of hard labor and working a lot, I'm going to take this break for myself, right? Which is, you can't afford vacations all the time. That is a good way of thinking so you can really optimize your work time. But also it's important to have routines set in place where you are able to like have small breaks every single week or bi-weekly or every single night where you have a self-care routine or whatever it is, where you have like smaller increments of break time and rest instead of you just offloading just a one to like 4 days of rest at the end of 4 or 5 months, because I feel like that just makes the reward so much later on, and it feels like further away, where you're more likely to get into the burnout setting because you just don't feel like it's in your reach anymore, right? Whereas if you have like actual attainable self-care routines throughout the weeks, then it's more bite-sized and you can like reach for those small things every single day instead of it being like a long-term reward,
Good.
Thanks.
Good point.
Thanks.
Good point, buddy. We kind of talked about this earlier, but like I definitely did a lot of prioritizing work over having like a social life into like my like later teen years or like early 20s. And like I was always so jealous of the people that looked like they were meshing the two perfectly. Like you had like those kids at school that like were like really good grades but also were like had like big friend groups or whatever. And I was just never able to do that. I was only able to do like one of each. And I just never cracked the code on how to do both. But I think like the older I got, the more I like didn't really care about like hanging out with people or, even like it can even get to like family. It can like me not talking to my mom or like my sister for a while just because like I forget to, or like I'm busy with other things. I don't want to get distracted or get my mind off of like what's important. And even like when I moved out to my first apartment, I remember like before I moved out, I was gonna be like, my thought process was, I'm gonna, because I was living near a lot of my friends at that time. I was like, I'm gonna be hanging out with people all the time, I'm gonna be going out all the time, da da da. But like literally none of that happened. Like the whole time I had the apartment, I was just work and school and like my own work, 24/7.
I think you were inside even more.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, because I loved my apartment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like never go outside. I would spend like all my time inside, and I was just like so conditioned to not giving anyone not giving anyone my time, because like I didn't feel like anyone, like this is gonna sound harsh, but like I didn't feel like anyone was like worthy of like taking me away from like my goals or like whatever it was. But like the truth is there is a balance between the two that like should be the goal to reach, that I was just never able to figure it out.
Yeah.
But,
I think, what we said before of, the community or our parents or whoever conditioning us into feeling like friends aren't important, or like all of our friends will leave us and they're talking badly about us and this and that, or even competing with your friends, being conditioned to do that. It makes us feel like the main priority is work. And even me growing up, having my own business and just working on that full time, it was hard for me to feel like there was a life outside of work, because I was just so passionate about growing my business. And I had to really rewire my brain into thinking like, oh no, there are friends who are filling your cup and sometimes distracting you from your work, or even inspiring you to even do better at your work, right? Like fueling you to do better at work, right?
Yeah.
And I think that mindset shift has helped me, first of all, pour myself into more people that actually inspire me and are making my life better in some way, instead of those people who are kind of just like, talking badly about other people, and that's their main type of like hangout thing. And it has also made me feel more excited to hang out with more people, instead of just turning that part of myself off completely, So yeah, I got 2 hangouts, 3 hangouts scheduled for this week.
Yeah, you're crazy.
And I'm excited.
You're crazy.
I even have like as one of my New Year's goals this year to hang out with at least one person a week. And I've been doing that.
Then why don't we ever hang out?
All we do is hang out. I hope you guys like this episode. But as you guys know, we post our thoughts and ask you guys for your advice, or we ask you the question of the week, which is, what are your thoughts on toxic productivity? Have you ever dealt with this? What are your experiences? And we feature some of you guys in our podcast. So if you guys don't follow us on our Instagram, it's @difficultish. And you might be featured in an episode if you do follow us and send in a little response on our story.
Oh my god. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Should I share some?
Yeah, please. The crowd is waiting.
I don't think they're ready.
Crowd is waiting.
I got one. This person said, it's a cycle of wanting to cherish moments of life, but feeling guilty and turning towards work. So it's a lot of like back and forth of like, oh, like, you want to enjoy your life and you want to do this and you want to do that. You want to go travel. You want to go get some chicken tenders. You want to go have a good time. But also, you need to get stuff done. And because you have immigrant parents to, make happy and whatnot. And it's just, an ongoing conflict in your head.
Just know that I felt that hard.
Did you? Are you
that
sure?
one hit me in the heart.
All right, the delivery was kind of off with that one. This person said, showed up a lot in my past romantic relationships because I felt like I had to earn love.
Dang. That's common because a lot of us grew up with feeling we could only be validated by our good grades or our job promotion or how well we do in school and this and that. And it was very number based. And if we did good in school, maybe sometimes our parents reacted better. We got the extra jalebi, or we got the extra.
When did you turn Indian?
We got the extra love.
When did you ever get jalebi? Mom never made jalebi.
We got the extra love from our parents because we got 100 on our test. And I think that really follows us into our adulthood because, like what I said before, if you are overcompensating your time by overcommitting to tasks and responsibilities that really aren't in your responsibility list, and just doing so much more than you're expected to because you want to get this validation from other people or get this promotion or just be on your boss's good side or whatever it is, it can also leak into our personal lives or our romantic lives where we feel like we have to do a lot more to get the love and affection from our partner. And it's very unhealthy, you know? So it's really important to try to get to the root of those problems and just be more selfish with your time and have some more boundaries up.
I got one last one. This person said, yes.
Oh.
I have an MSc, Masters in Science, and now doing a PhD.
Counseling.
Huh?
Masters in counseling, I think.
And doing a PhD in multimodal neuroimaging.
Oh, wow.
You ever heard of that?
No.
You don't know what that is.
Do you?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
But I still feel like I'm not good enough because I'm unmarried at 26.
Girl,
So you're doing all this.
you're doing a lot more than
God's
the norm.
work.
You're doing God's work. You're
God's
doing
work.
so much. Please try to ignore this society's image of success and like the roadmap that we are told to go on, because you are successful in our eyes. You should feel like you're successful as well, because this is a path that is very hard and you're killing it. So don't feel like you have to have a house, be married, and, you know, do the ABC roadmap when maybe that's not your path. Maybe you don't feel like doing that, because there are so many other variants of success. Like, I also felt the same. Mashun also felt the same level of unsuccessful because, you know, we are going a very untraditional route. We don't have like our, you know, I mean, there are different things, right? Like, I got my master's. He has a corporate job. I still feel unsuccessful sometimes because I decided to not use my master's and I have my own business now. He has his bachelor's, but he has a corporate job, but he might feel unsuccessful sometimes because he doesn't feel like, you know, ABC. There are so many different things that you could have done in life, but this is your life path and you're here for a reason, and you should feel successful because we are proud of you.
Yeah, I get it. You know, as like your PhD fellow, like, classmate.
Oh, yeah, didn't you go to Harvard?
In the past. No,
Because
I'm getting
also,
my
like,
PhD now.
we're so keen to compare ourselves to other people who look better on social media, who have that house, who are, you know, they're married. But also there are people that are comparing themselves to us without us even realizing it, because they're inspired by all the things that we're doing. And I'm inspired by you too. So just know that there's someone who wants your life. And it's just important to keep on going, because this is who you're meant to be.
Getting your PhD in neuroimaging at 26.
Yeah.
I got my PhD too.
When? At age 17, right?
From
Harvard.
Major in dinky doink. Oh no.
What's your problem?
I almost accidentally.
What's your actual problem?
Minor in
Dinky doink.
Minor in.
What minor in what? What'd you minor in?
No, nothing.
Doofenshmirtz? Okay.
That's not funny.
Okay, so why'd you laugh
Why
so
are you
hard?
being so
The
funny?
hardest you laughed today.
This is Ramadan. We're supposed to be nice to each other.
Okay. You have a Bangla word of the day.
Kida.
Yeah.
Kida.
That means I'm very hungry.
I'm hungry.
Kuda lakse.
I'm
I say kuda lakse. You say kida.
Yeah, I never understood. Like, do you know where one comes from?
It's just different dialects, different.
But why do like two people living together
Professionalism.
say different words?
I don't know. Like, you know,
Like,
my mom and
coming from
dad
the
say
same
something.
place.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just something's more proper, something's less proper, you know, this and that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You got your 10-second advice?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Mine is think about changing your towels more often. I finally changed my towel after like 3 or 4 years. I had like a very inexpensive $5 maybe towel from Target or something, which was great. It did the job, but it wasn't like thick enough, and it had like a lot of my hair dye and things like that on it. And I finally got a new towel that is a little bit more sturdy, and I feel like a new woman. How about you?
I got one. It's actually useful. And I learned this the hard way.
Make sure you're watching the actual episode, because why is he smiling so big when he's about to say this?
But I recently learned that you shouldn't put a hard-boiled egg in the microwave to warm it up unless you like cut it up into pieces, because it'll explode.
Did you find out why it exploded?
No.
Oh, you're not in the neuroimaging master.
What's the correlation?
Because you said you have your PhD.
This is an egg.
Okay.
We just talk about neuroimaging. You see, you don't even know what that is.
Okay.
Why are you even talking about something you don't even know? It's Ramadan. You shouldn't be doing that. When you put your hard-boiled egg in in the egg in the microwave, you gotta cut it into pieces. You understand? Because if you don't cut it and you leave it,
I knew that. All right.
A lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know.
We saw what happened.
Okay.
I just saw him like taking the vacuum and putting it in the microwave. But anyway, we hope you guys like this episode. Please let us know in the comments below if you want maybe a part 2 on how to unlearn some of these toxic productivity traits, these unhealthy traits, and if this was helpful for you and if you learned a thing or two. But today's emoji of the week is
why are you at this point just end it. No one's listening right now. No one is listening.
Alright, well, we hope you like this episode.
Drop a pencil.
Like and subscribe.
Right, give me a pencil.
Make sure to rate and review. But we love you guys so much.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Enjoy.
Allah Hafiz.